Hey guys, it's Bella and welcome back to another video. Thought today I would do a sit down video. I know I don't usually do sit down videos, but I put on my story to ask me any questions you want to know about me or any advice that you need or anything like that, and I actually got a bunch of responses. After I posted my last video, I got busy and then I got really sick. I'm finally getting to post. I have my iPad and I have all the questions here. I got my hair done. This is my natural color except for I added a few highlights here. I really like it. Been natural for a while. I just had more highlights than I prefer, but yeah, I really love it. Got a lot of questions about Christianity and Christian advice, relationship advice, friendship advice, high school advice in general. I just want to put this out there. I am no way, shape, or form perfect. I am kind of known as the friend that gives good advice and stuff, so I thought this would be a really fun video to make. I'm starting with the very first question. Someone said Christian relationship advice, please. A lot of the questions are honestly the same. I got a lot of questions asking for Christian relationship advice or just Christian advice in general. And so I'm just kind of going to combine it all into one, but I am going to show you all the different questions. I feel like I could talk about this all day because I think there is such a warped mindset when it comes to relationships in general, especially in this generation. People are not serious about many things, and they're also really easily just to throw things away or to just let things get in the way of things that they claim are important to them. The biggest advice that I could give you as a Christian girl, I think getting to know somebody for a long time, that is definitely really important, because if you just jump into a relationship with someone that you don't know their relationship with God, you don't know anything really about them in general, it's not gonna end well. And I'm just gonna say it, any guy that does not have God in his life or within him is not gonna know how to treat you, and it's just a fact. Add on to, as far as Christian relationships go, obviously no relationship is going to be perfect. I think people also are really quick to judge when it comes to Christian relationships, because they're like, oh, I thought you were Christian, or I thought you did that. And you know, obviously everybody's gonna judge it sometimes. We're human, but we have to remember not every relationship is going to be perfect, but you have to try to strive to be the best relationship that God would want you to be. See the quote all the time, and it's so true: 3 keeps a relationship, not 2. God, you, and your significant other. That is just the main idea that I'm gonna give, is no relationship is going to work without God in the center of it. Also, I'm guilty of it. I think almost every girl is guilty of it, of at least once thinking with their heart instead of their head. And in some cases it happens more than once. I think you need to just truly sit down and think, do I want to be treated like this? Do I want to continue to be treated like this? Or I think this is healthy for me and also my relationship with God. If someone is pulling you away from God, you need to get out of it. I don't think I can think of a single thing on this earth that is ever worthy of me losing even 1% of my relationship with God. This doesn't even mean being pulled into sin with them or anything. It just means in general, being quick to anger or just having more hate in your heart. If someone is making you like that, then that's not healthy. But girls, your husband is not the guy who doesn't try in school, the guy who smokes all the time, or isn't working on himself for the future at all, or his relationship with God. That's not your husband. We'll be like, oh, they'll change. No, they don't. And they might years from now, but they're so used to that lifestyle, they are not going to change. And if they say they're going to change for you, that is so not true, and do not buy into that. Moving on to the next question. Have you always been Christian? I think every Christian at least once has doubted themselves in their religion, just because there's going to be trials that you go through. There's going to be things that make you question, why would God put me through that? Why would God let that happen? Yes, that can be really difficult to comprehend and to wrap your brain around. Why would God let that happen? And I think that's definitely the biggest thing that I could say I struggle with. Definitely gotten better, because I know that God does give you lessons and puts you through things, but some things you have to realize are not always from God, and can't blame him for everything. I've grown up Christian, I've always been Christian, but I definitely have gone through things that have really made me realize how real his presence is, and how he can really get you out of anything. Moving on, do you deal with toxic people? As far as toxic people go, high school, it's filled with them. It only gets worse. It doesn't really get better. People just get more immature. But I will say, it's not worth keeping yourself around someone who you think is your friend or your boyfriend or whatever that's really toxic just to keep them around. it is so much better to just leave them be or to talk about them about things. But if they are not understanding anything that they're doing wrong and they're very quick to get defensive or not take accountability for anything, then that's toxic, and you most likely just don't need to hang around someone like that. How do you get closer to God? Like I said before, you're going to go through things that maybe you aren't as close to God with. The biggest thing that I can recommend is reading your Bible like a daily bread. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. There's going to be days where you don't want to read it either. There's days where I don't read it. I sometimes go a week without reading it, and I get really disappointed in myself. But I do notice that when I read it the most, I am the happiest, because it is such a calming thing. And praying a lot. Things get busy. You can't always just sit at your Bible every single day. There's going to be days where you're busy. But I will say, finding time just throughout the day to pray. Sitting in class and just praying about anything that's on your mind. Praying before you eat, praying before bed. My prayers before bed are usually really long, just because I usually have a lot on my mind or just things I want to talk to God about. But definitely just prayer and reading your Bible. Have you found that group of friends or people that you connect with? The thing about group of friends is I feel like the more people you have around, the more drama that can cause. In general, it's not really my favorite to have like 20 friends. I'd rather have 3 or 4 or even 5 really good loyal friends than more friends that are not going to show up for you like they will. It's just a fact. If you think you have 20 friends who are going to show up for you every time, it's just not true. You're not all their best friends, and your best friend is definitely not the person who doesn't check up on you at all or text you outside of school or try to hang out with you or anything like that. If you're just a school friend to them and they act differently around other friends or anything like that, that's not your best friend. So I like to keep just a few best friends. I feel like especially things happen and you really see who is there for you and who isn't. It can feel lonely because you feel like everybody else has their own best friend or you're nobody's best friend, but I promise you, you just have to find your right people. Favorite place and why? I could talk about this literally all day. As you can see, my whole personality is the beach. My room's beachy. I love everything about the beach. Charleston is my favorite place ever. I would probably choose it over Hawaii, and that sounds stupid, but everything about it is just my happy place. I am so blessed to live so close to a place like that. So much to do. Beach, there's really good restaurants, there's good ice cream, the environment, everywhere you go reggae music is playing. Reggae music is one of my favorite genres. I like to surf, there's Folly Beach. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to say Charleston. How did you get into modeling? Ever since I was little, I've done some type of modeling. My stepdad owns a big marketing business, so he has a lot of photo shoots, video shoots that I've been in, and I've known since I was little that I wanted to do fashion modeling or beauty modeling in general or runway. You do not need a agency to get into things. That's what people tend to hesitate on because they don't know what agency to use. You don't need an agency. But I will say people think it's just like, oh, it's just for fun, or it's really not that hard, but there's actually a lot of hard work that does go into it and just applications in general. You guys actually asked some really good questions. I thought I was going to see like favorite color, favorite animal, but these are actually really good detailed questions. Someone did ask first big heartbreak tips, girl. Every girl goes through it. Every guy goes through it too. It's just a part of life. That if it's really something that you care about and you don't think that you're going to be able to get past it, you could always try again depending on the situation. But I will say if someone is not changing and you go back and back, it's probably not healthy to be going back. As far as getting over someone, of course you're going to be sad at first, you're going to go through all the emotions, but my biggest thing that I will say is honestly just prayer and building yourself afterwards. Someone asked, what do you look for in a guy? I will say though, I do ask a few questions that are really important to me. Do you smoke? Do you drink? Religious? Because I feel like it does say a lot about somebody, and I'm not saying that in a judging way. So yeah, that's just a personal thing. Those are really important things to me. Having a big heart and being really funny is like the biggest thing for me. Don't like any nonchalant guys. Get that out. Someone said, when is your birthday? My birthday is February 14th, Valentine's Day. Everybody always asks me, do you like having your birthday on Valentine's Day? Whenever I tell them that, it is such a love-hate relationship for me because I feel like it's fun to have your birthday on a holiday, go to school, and it's like a big thing, but then there's like the couples everywhere like giving gifts and stuff, and I'm just like, oh. So I'd say sometimes it's not the most fun, but it's okay. Someone else said weekend vlog, and they also said school vlog now. The thing about school vlogs is I feel like there's not really too much to film in my classes, nor can I really film that much because they'll be like, put that phone away. I can't really film that much, but I definitely have tried, and in, I think it was my past vlog, I did have a school vlog, so go watch that. Someone said, talking to someone. I can see who sends that. Yes, the last question I'm gonna answer is someone said, when did you start loving music, or what made you get into music? I've always loved music. I always listen to music 24/7. If I'm not playing or writing music, then I'm listening to it. My speaker's always on, my AirPods are always in. Music has always been such a huge part of my life. I've always had a very specific taste when it comes to music. I knew since I was little that I wanted to be a musician or a performer, pick up a guitar or play the piano. I truly started learning guitar in about 5th, 6th grade. In 6th grade, that's when I really started playing violin, and now it has become my future career. I will say though, my love for music would have never really happened if I was only in school orchestra. I am into symphony orchestras, and I will say my love for performing happened, and getting to perform in front of such a big crowd is so rewarding. I would have never felt that way with school orchestra. There is so much hard work put into music. I think it is so underestimated. I definitely have had comments like orchestra kid and stuff like that, just simply because school orchestra can be embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. But when I actually have gotten to a professional orchestra, I see all the hard work that is put in and all the hard work that I've put in. So many hours of work. There was one week where I think I practiced like 50 hours, and it was really hard on my body. In general, it was really hard on my body. I get really sore. Music is the most rewarding thing ever. I am really thankful that I have found something that I am so in love with at such a young age, because I know that if it wasn't for music, I probably still wouldn't know what I'd want to do exactly yet. I definitely don't know exactly 100% what route I'm going to take with music, but I do have a lot of ideas, and I think it's so important to remember to not limit yourself to one thing, do those multiple desires. It's going to sound cringy, but genuinely the only thing holding yourself back is you. One of my favorite quotes is, talent is nothing without hard work, and it is so true. You could be so talented, born out of the womb knowing how to do something so well like music, but if you don't practice, if you don't put hard work in, you're not going to go anywhere. To get to where I am with my music just by getting my way through, I have really gone through a lot to get to where I am now, and I think that is something I can brag about because I really have pushed myself. I always worry that I'm going to get a burnout. Do push yourself too hard with something that you do love though, and you spend so much time doing it though, you can get a burnout. And so I think that's why it is so important to find a personal part of something and a school part of something, career part of something. For example, music. I have found a school part of something. I am in my school orchestra. Found a personal part of it as well. I have a lot of pieces that I would like to prepare for myself, and just solo pieces and just learning things that I want to learn. And then I have the career part, where I spend hours practicing my symphony music and all the hard work that's put into my practices when I get there. So I will say just finding that balance is the most important thing. It's not gonna feel fun to you anymore, and it might feel more like a chore. That is all the questions I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to those who sent in the questions. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!